Hi everybody.
Hi.
Hi, it's Dara and Jenna.
We are talking about relationships.
Yes, we are. We are.
Mostly because Dara has helped me so much because I'm English and we value stuff upper lips so much. And as you say, stuffing stuff under the carpet.
Mm-hmm.
And what have you taught me about what happens when we stuff things under the carpet?
Well, first of all, Jenna, I just want to say, like, Jenna has such an, I don't know, the way you've just been saying, well, you do this and you say this. And I'm like, oh, I do that. I do say that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I find to be an intimacy blocker, a major intimacy blocker for any relationship, but especially intimate relationships, or for any relationship, is when we try and kind of shove things under the carpet because we don't want to look at them, right? And we don't want to take the time to sweep them up and dustbin them out. So we might just just shove it under the carpet because if I shove it under the carpet, a thought or a bad feeling, or if somebody does something that I don't like, and I shove it under the carpet, it goes away, right? Like we think it goes away because we don't want to be a nag, or we don't want to upset somebody, or we don't want to bring up each little thing as it comes. However, what happens, and what I believe happens, is that we shove it under the carpet, everybody moves on with their day. Two things happen. One is that there's a little piece of resentment inside, a little piece of feeling misunderstood, right?
Oh.
And it adjusts our behavior, because if I feel a little misunderstood, I might kind of not want to meet your needs. Like, if you're not meeting my needs, I might want to not meet your needs, and then we create a chasm, right? So if I don't get my needs met, I'm going to be like, well, I don't really feel like making you food, or I don't really, and then the person's not receiving what they were receiving, and then they pull back a little bit. So it creates a chasm.
Even if you don't know what you're doing, you're creating distance.
You are. That's why bringing things up, I will always push the envelope and kind of bring things up as a service to my relationship, to stay close. Because if we don't say it, it builds inside and it separates us.
But so most of us think that we're actually being a better partner by not saying stuff because we don't want to cause a...
We don't want to do that all the time. We don't want, but what we're really doing is we're creating closeness by saying something, because it's saying, I want to meet your needs, and if I don't get my needs met, there's a chance I'm not going to want to meet yours, and then we'll get farther and farther apart. And so the carpet symbolism is basically like, you shove it, I'm looking at our fluffy carpet here, you shove it under the carpet, little thing, then another little thing, then another thing, and then guess what? One day you just trip and you fall flat on your face.
Because there's so much
it's a
under the
big
carpet.
problem. Then you've hit your head. Everybody's hit their head, and you're sitting on the floor going, "What happened?" Instead of each step along the way, you bring closer. You have intimacy. Your carpet stays swept, and you're not going to fall flat on your face. I'm gonna make sure it's still on. Does that make sense?
Yes. And then what's the second thing that happens then?
Those are the two things. So the two things that happen when you don't address these unmet needs, or these things that could save your relationship, if you don't address them, it creates the chasm.
Right.
So you keep getting farther and farther apart. And it's like building a wall in between you and another person.
Right, without you even knowing what you're doing.
You don't know what you're
building
doing.
the wall.
Yeah, and it's like it comes with the simplest thing. Like, if in the 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, if my love language, and someone speaks to me and they give me lots of words of affirmation. So if I make you food, I do an act of service, and you say, Dara, this is the best food. Thank you so much for taking the time. I feel loved.
Right.
Let's say I serve you food and somebody says to me, somebody doesn't say anything, they just kind of eat it. And I'm like, And then if I don't let them know that I really do need to kind of hear that it was so appreciated, then I might do less of that.
Right.
Or less of the thing that makes them feel loved.
Right.
And then it just goes further and further apart.
So then how would you, because I think that me included, I'm like traditionally so afraid of confrontation. I would think that there's only one way to do that, and it's going to end up in a fight. But there's a way of saying, of communicating that you have a need. Let's say, use that example of like you making me food and you didn't get your words of affirmation. You say that in a high consciousness way.
As high as possible.
Right.
I would say, how like I would describe the love languages, or I would describe what makes me feel love. So I would say, I really love it when you just are so over the top appreciative. when I do this, because it's such an act of love and it makes me feel so good and want to do it more, and want to do more of the things that make you happy when I feel appreciated. And this is just me telling you this so that if my needs are met, your needs can be met, and we could be happier. So it's really about me. It's not about you didn't do this and you don't do this. It's like, I realize that it may not, that's not your expression of love, saying it or not saying it. It doesn't mean you love or don't love me. It's just something I need. And however weird that is to you, you know, like however much that is so hard to understand because it's not something you need, it's something I need. And that gives the person like, yeah, I can make you happy. Like, of course I can make you happy. But then, and if they forget, you could have like a little like sign or a little something. And then if you're with someone who really doesn't care to meet your needs in that way, well then
at least you know.
Yeah. So.
But I would have assumed that, for example, like, you know, before I knew better, it's like the only way to do it is like, you haven't given me this or whatever. And I think that's the misconception that scares so many people into like
not saying
what you're about, which is like true communication.
Right.
And acceptance.
Right.
And creating the space.
And it takes two. Right.
Yeah.
It takes somebody who can hear you. And it takes the way to say it, that it's all about getting our needs met. And why would we be with someone who doesn't want to meet our needs? Like, maybe they can't, maybe they don't want to, but first, I go under the assumption that they want to. I would hope that the person who is with us and intimate wants us to be happy. There's nothing better than living with a happy person or being in a relationship with someone who feels loved.
So then you're just helping them help.
You're helping them to help you, basically, and which in turn helps them.
I mean, because I guess none of us are mind readers. You know, like I can't tell what you like just by...
No.
You know, like, and I can't get mad if I haven't told you what I like, if you're not giving it to me.
So it's my job to tell you what makes me happy. And if I don't do that, then I'm shoving my needs under the carpet. And I'll be resentful, and the chasm will happen, and the lump in the carpet will happen, and we'll fall on our faces. So it's really hard to bring it up because there's a lot of, like, it really did happen to me once, this particular, and I'm thinking, don't say, like, I remember battling with myself thinking, don't say it, Dara, don't say anything, because this person's just going to be like, what? Like, that's what you're picking on right now? But I knew if I didn't say something, then the piece of resentment that I felt could turn into some act of not doing this, or what maybe he needed, or whatever. Like, I felt like it would be a disservice to the relationship to not say something.
So there's you, there's the person, and there's also the relationship. Like, what's best for, like...
It's a thing. It's its own thing. And I think we battle, especially, I don't know if other women do this, but I don't want to sound like a nag. I don't want to pick.
I do that too.
I don't want to, you know, but communication is the key to intimacy. Communication is the key to great loving.
And there is a way to do it. It's not all bad or all good. Like, there's good communication, like what you call eyeball to eyeball, rather than like preachy and distant and
or pointing the finger,
misunderstanding and blame, and
or pointing the finger at them. Like, you, if you're going to start a sentence with, you know, you didn't do this, we might want to say, when I didn't hear words of affirmation, or I didn't hear praise for all of
so you make it about you,
then
basically.
I felt bad because I told myself it didn't matter to you. Or it's really how when this happened, because I have this thing, like, when you poke an orange juice is going to come out. It's I don't know if that relates to this, but like, whatever's inside is going to come out. So it's my responsibility when, like, things could happen, like somebody could get knocked in the face. And I think I read this in a Stephen Covey book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, but it's up to us how we react. Like, it's my issue how I react. So I feel this way. Somebody else wouldn't feel that way at all. It's my responsibility.
And you're very good at saying, and you always say to me, I'm not sure whether it's, you check yourself before you speak, right? Because you don't just say, you won't spew something out. You'll be like, is this something to do with my wounds or my old belief systems or my fears?
Is this me?
Is it me?
Is it me, or
is it the situation?
Yeah, like, what is it? What is it?
Yes.
And you kind of take a minute to yourself before you just blurt things out. And the last thing we need to say is you this or you that. When this happened, or when you did this, I told myself that you didn't love me, therefore I felt neglected. Or when this happened, I told myself something, because it's really only what I'm telling myself. It's not the act of what somebody ever does.
We build.
Because somebody would show up a half hour late or an hour late, and somebody wouldn't care. Oh, another woman would be like, oh, whatever, he's late, I got busy. And another person would tell themselves this whole story that they don't love me because they're late. So it's really the story we tell ourselves, totally.
It's the associations that we make based on, and you're so good at being like, I'm not sure whether this is my old fear of this that's kind of like imposing itself on the situation.
Yeah, is this my family of origin nonsense? Is this my, it's kind of like, I want to see if this is on. Yeah. Is this me? Is this my, like, you know, my stuff, or my family of origin stuff? Is this like a little break that happened when I was younger, or my issue? Because we all came in with a weak link that we are hopefully addressing, so that we can at the very, very least, identify it as we're doing it and go, oh, that's me doing that. Yes. I can catch that.
And takes the sting out of it too. You're like, oh, okay. And what you've really taught me is like, every time it comes up, it's in the opportunity to like go through it. Like it's not an accident that the universe keeps sending you the stuff when you're awake to like move through something so that you can clear it.
Yeah.
You know, then it's nothing so like...
It's not so devastating. It's not lie on the floor, cry till 3 a.m.
Yes.
You know, like it's no longer that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those things that used to devastate us don't need to devastate us anymore, because we can take a look and go, my reaction to this is because of what I'm telling myself. It just simply is.
Yeah. And then that's all. You just get to sit back and observe that. And then make it like...
There's another thing that I do is I will rise above like a bird in a perch, and I'll be like, witness. I remind myself that a lot of this little stuff we get ourselves into is like the human, very third dimension kind of these things that really don't matter in the end from a bigger perspective. Yeah. So...
Which is sounds so simple, but so hard to do.
It's hard.
You're in the moment,
when you're in it and you're triggered. It's like head spinning, and it's head spinning when it happens. And I am a person who definitely pushes the envelope. I don't leave. I will never walk out of a room when I'm in a fight or some turbulence. I will not leave the house. I will not leave. My mother told me never be with a person who leaves if you're in an argument. Right. Make sure you're with a person who stays.
I don't want to talk about it.
It's pretty much do your best. Like you might walk out of the room. I might walk out of the room for a second, and then I come back and I'm like, all right, let's just do this. Because in the end, the ultimate goal is you want to clean, clear, and bright, and you also don't want the person you love to feel worse. Like in the end, my ultimate goal is I don't want them to feel bad. Just like I don't want to feel bad. So I will push the envelope to clean the floor and clean out what could create a chasm or a lump in the carpet, and then I will come back together to make amends, because having that kind of discord last is just not how I want to live. I want to
in yourself or with somebody else.
No.
That's so nice. And then the other thing, I guess, is about that if you do it properly, you end up being more connected with somebody.
You do, and even if you have to part, you can part in love. Like, even if the discord is great and whatever is happening, you get to stay in love. You get to stay in love because you didn't ruin that person's day, night, year, week, whatever. You didn't ruin their life. You just simply realize that there's... Yeah.
And then the ending of a relationship, or the ending of a phase, or just how you relate to one person and maybe relate to them in a different way another time, doesn't have to be this like big bad thing, because you stayed pretty pure, you stayed pretty true, you stayed pretty and hopefully then you've helped each other do that, right? Because like
hopefully.
when you're both doing this like lovely dance of nice understanding and communication, and then you can be mad, or you can feel angry, or you can feel whatever, but it comes back to like, but I know you had my good intentions at heart, and I know we did this good. And
I know we did this good. I know that you loved me, and I know that you didn't really want to make me miserable. That was never your intention.
Yeah.
It was just maybe you were hurt, or you didn't get your needs met. But in the end, like I said, in the letting go of relationships video I did years ago, is that love, when true, never leaves. It just changes form. So the body may not be here, but the love remains.
If you created the love.
If you created the love, if you created the space for the love,
Right.
and did not hurt
Yes.
anyone intentionally.
Yes. And you know, it's so interesting because I think most of us make the mistake of, as soon as we feel hurt or triggered, we automatically assume that that person was moving from bad intentions. And you're very much like, you do the opposite. It's like innocent until proven guilty, rather than guilty until proven innocent. It's like, I'm not seeing this as them going out of their way to make me pissed off or upset, because you almost understand that it's not about you. It's like your stuff, this person with their stuff and their thing and their understanding of the way life works, kind of
their capacities, their capacities, their way of being, their needs, their drives, their different ways of operating. It could be really very different and not quite right for me, but they're on their own. Like, bless them, and move on. So,
but even if they are right for you, you have to do some kind of syncing up, right? Like, you can't just expect it to like flow beautifully from the beginning. Like, there's always
people who think that it's just going to go like that. It's very rarely. It's two separate human beings coming together, and there's different needs, and there's like a way to do it together beautifully. And there are going to be little bumps and lumps, and I think.
But then there's no blame. Like, there's
if
no
you want
shame,
the true
there's
intimacy,
no judgment.
if you want the true love and the true sex and the true intimacy, you can't ignore the lumps in the carpet. You got to sweep. That's it. I mean, that's
what's the other thing you say to me about you can't have intimacy in one area and you can't block it in the others? That's really important as well.
I think that's living authentically. Intimacy, if we're talking about physical intimacy, it's the creative juices of life. If you're shut down there, how is everything else going to be operating authentically? It's like the chakras, or what we're talking in human design. It has to all flow. So
you can't have intimacy in one area.
You cannot have intimacy in one area of life. Like, you're so dialed in and you're so authentic, and then you're shut down in another area. It's like your home. If you have an extremely cluttered attic, it's going to oppress above your head. If you are a great athlete but you broke your toe, it's going to affect your running. If you are a person who is addressing the food area of your life but not the love and sex area, you can be shut down. We have to be authentic all the way.
Right.
Truth all the way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I don't know if I'm explaining it right.
No, totally, because it's like,
you don't get to pick and choose. You don't get to choose. I'm going to be really authentic in here, but not over there. Like, I'm going to be really authentic in love, but I'm going to eat like junk.
Yeah.
It just doesn't, it all has to go together.
Right. Or
we were talking about, like, you could be so focused on food.
Yes.
You said you've known women that are so focused on food, and if they just do the food right, what happens?
Then everything else is going to be fine. Then you're like good at life, kind of thing. Like, as long as you eat perfectly, then everything else flows. I would much rather be a woman who sometimes allows myself to slip up, but then I choose good thoughts the rest of the time. Or I don't worship the food as being the be all and end all.
It's not the answer. It's the first thing, right?
Yeah, it's just another meridian. It's another component. You have to see.
So we have our mind, and we have our hearts, and we have our guts, and listen to our gut, and we have this area, which nobody's talking about. Like, this is really important.
You
like,
always hear
the
that
desire. It came up in our human design video we just did. The desire leads you to where you're supposed to go. If you shut down the desire, you're shutting down life.
Right, like your physical chemistry and your physical needs, and who kind of you have a connection with. I guess. Obviously,
I always said follow the heat. Heat. Go where the heat is. You have a lesson to learn in where the heat is.
Ooh, that's so good. Yeah.
There's a lesson to learn where the heat is, where the joy is, where that drive, that desire, whether it's a career, or it's a person, or it's a thought, or it's a book, or what you're looking on the internet. There's heat there. If we ignore the heat, we're shutting off life.
But so many of us struggle with that. Yeah, but so many of us think it's better to be rational, to make sense, to be logical. Yeah, like I think, you know, so many of us don't want to move towards the heat because we need to
I
have
always
all the
move
reasons
towards the
right
heat.
first.
I always move towards the heat, and I think that is what I was trying to describe to someone earlier, is that, well, you live your life like that. Like, look where you landed. Like, I did all this work, the decluttering, the raw food, but there was a lot that came before that. There were careers that I gave up because I didn't feel the heat. I felt the heat towards something else.
Right.
And I go towards the heat, whether you call it the heart, the heat, it doesn't matter. It's like, it's been my...
Yes.
It's been my navigational tool. If it doesn't feel right anymore, I will try my hardest to make it right. But at some point,
you have to say there's no heat here.
there's no heat. If it makes you so happy to let go of something, to go towards something else, that's the answer.
Right. But so many people, don't you think, and myself included, I've done this before, we want to stay in the cold because the cold is like harsh and it makes sense and it's logical and
we've invested in it.
You know, exactly. Or like, there's more money in this, or this person is more stable, or this person...
I've put so much time into it, or this is the right thing to do, and it all works on paper, but life is not that neat.
Yeah.
It's got heat.
We all want to kind of live by the paper though, as well. Like, that's always what we're like
just
told.
don't.
Yeah. It's good.
I just don't.
It's good.
Like, when someone says to me, what somebody's going to think, what they're going to think, I'm like, who cares what they think? Like, I was very well aware when I gave up my jewelry studio, or I gave up this whole wholesale business I had years ago, and I had stores around the world buying my goods, but I no longer wanted to be that businesswoman.
Right.
And I wanted to pick up my paintbrushes and I wanted to paint murals. And when the thought was so exciting to just stop the business and go towards the paint, I did it, and I was happy.
Right. And then you said, like, this is in there, this is in there, this is in there, like everything,
And I
mind,
think
body.
those are the rewards. I think you get the rewards when you follow the heat. It's a faith. It's a leap of faith. It's not rational. It's not logical. It's scary.
No.
It's judgment. There's judgment from other people, for sure. But
because we're all too attached to the logic. And
I'm almost childlike in a way. I'm almost like a kid.
Isn't that what we
I'm a
all want
kid.
to do, though?
I am definitely like a child. I'm a wise woman in many, many, many areas, but my nature is very like, if it excites me, I have to do it. I'm not reckless, but with joy, like.
Yeah, but being led by joy and not by fear. That's where it goes.
The video's
That
over.
is where it goes.
Joy led by. Yeah, that's it. I think we just completed. Bye, everybody.
Yay!
That's it.